Research on subscription spending consistently finds the same gap. People estimate they spend approximately $80 per month on subscriptions. The actual average is closer to $240, 3 times what they thought. That gap exists by design, not by accident. Here is an exercise worth doing right now. Before we go any further, write down how many subscriptions you currently pay for. Not a careful list, but a rough estimate from memory. Now, multiply that number by the average monthly cost of a typical streaming or software subscription, somewhere between $10 and $15. That is your estimated monthly total. Hold that number, because research on this question, conducted across thousands of people tracking their actual bank statements, consistently finds that people underestimate their subscription spending by 200 to 300%. Not 10%, not 50%, but 200 to 300%. The number you just calculated is likely less than half of what is actually leaving your account. And the gap is not explained by carelessness or poor memory. It is explained by design. The subscription economy, the shift across software, media, fitness, food, retail, and dozens of other categories toward recurring billing, was built around a specific set of behavioral science principles that make recurring charges systematically harder to track, harder to cancel, and easier to forget than any equivalent one-time purchase. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how those principles work, where they are deployed, and how to recover the money currently leaving your account on autopilot for things delivering less value than they cost. Let us start with why companies move to subscriptions in the first place. To understand the subscription economy clearly, you need to understand why companies move to it. It was not primarily for customer convenience. It was for revenue predictability and customer lifetime value. Before subscriptions dominated software and media, companies sold products. You bought a piece of software once, and you bought a music album once. The company received revenue at the moment of sale. If you never bought from them again, that was the end of the relationship. This model had a problem from the company's perspective. Revenue was lumpy, unpredictable, and dependent on constant new customer acquisition. The subscription model solved this problem elegantly for the company. Instead of a one-time payment, the company receives a recurring payment indefinitely. Revenue becomes predictable. Customer lifetime value, the total amount a single customer generates over their relationship with the company, becomes a calculable, optimizable number. The entire company can be structured around maximizing that number. Now, here is where the behavioral engineering becomes relevant. To maximize customer lifetime value, the company needs to minimize cancellation. Cancellation is the enemy of the subscription business model. Every tool in the company's design, product, and marketing arsenal becomes oriented around reducing it. The easiest way to reduce cancellation is not to improve the product sufficiently that customers actively want to keep it. That is expensive. The easiest way to reduce cancellation is to make cancellation itself difficult, inconvenient, or easy to forget. This is cheaper. And it works. Research published in academic journals has documented what practitioners in the subscription industry call the dead customer problem. A meaningful percentage of active subscribers at any given time are not using the service at all. They subscribed, they stopped using it, but they never canceled. Because cancellation requires an active decision and an action, and the subscriber never reached the threshold of frustration required to take that action. In the software industry, these inactive subscribers are sometimes called zombies, accounts that are technically alive and billing, but generating no engagement. They represent pure recurring revenue with zero service delivery cost. For the company, the zombie subscriber is the ideal customer. For the subscriber, being a zombie means paying for something indefinitely that provides no value. The subscription model was not designed to serve you as a customer. It was designed to retain you as a revenue stream. The distinction is important. Now, let us look at the specific behavioral mechanisms deployed to keep you subscribed and spending beyond the point where you would rationally choose to. The first mechanism is the pain of paying. Behavioral economists have documented that the act of paying for something creates a psychological experience of pain or loss at the moment of transaction. This is why paying cash for something tends to feel worse than paying by credit card. The pain of paying is more immediate and vivid when cash physically leaves your hand. The subscription model is specifically designed to eliminate the pain of paying entirely. The charge happens automatically. You do not swipe a card, you do not enter a PIN, and you do not see the money leave. You are not present for the transaction. By removing the pain of paying from every recurring charge, the subscription model makes each payment psychologically invisible in a way that no one-time purchase ever can be. This invisibility is not a side effect of how subscriptions process payments. It is the mechanism that makes people tolerate ongoing charges for things they use rarely or not at all. The second mechanism is what behavioral scientists call the sunk cost effect applied forward. When you have paid for a subscription for 11 months, canceling feels like abandoning the value of those 11 months. You already paid for it. You might use it soon. You should get your money's worth. None of these thoughts are logically coherent. The 11 months are paid and gone, regardless of whether you cancel today. But the psychological pull is real and documented, and subscription companies understand it. This is partly why annual prepayment subscriptions are aggressively promoted with discounts. A customer who has paid for a year upfront is anchored for 12 months. They have pre-committed to staying subscribed. The sunk cost will work on them for the full year, rather than just the current month. Third is the endowment effect. People value things they already possess more than equivalent things they do not yet own. Once you have a subscription, the perceived value of what you would lose by canceling exceeds the perceived value of what you would gain, even if the rational calculation suggests the opposite. The streaming library you might someday watch, the features you have not explored yet, and the account history you would lose. None of these have genuine financial value proportional to the ongoing cost. But the endowment effect makes canceling feel like a genuine loss, rather than a rational financial decision. Fourth is what the industry calls engagement engineering. Periodic notifications, usage summaries, curated recommendations, and personalized content all serve a dual purpose. They are genuinely designed to provide value, but they are also specifically designed to keep the subscription salient in your memory, to make sure you think about it regularly enough that it does not reach the psychological threshold of forgotten that makes cancellation feel necessary. A subscription you think about regularly feels current. A subscription you remember exists only when the bill arrives feels like something you should probably cancel. Engagement engineering keeps you thinking about the first type, even when the usage data suggests you are closer to the second. If the behavioral mechanisms we just covered explained why you are still subscribed to at least one thing you rarely use. Stay with me, because understanding why cancellation feels hard is one thing. Understanding how cancellation is specifically designed to be hard, and the concrete steps for auditing and recovering your subscription spending efficiently, that is what comes next. Here is where the subscription model stops being a matter of behavioral science and becomes a matter of deliberate interface design. The Federal Trade Commission in the United States has a specific term for the design practices used to make cancellation difficult. They are called dark patterns. Dark patterns are user interface design choices that specifically work against the user's interests while appearing to offer a choice. In the subscription context, they appear in several well-documented forms. The Roach Motel design, a reference to the old advertising slogan, "You can check in, but you can't check out," describes subscription services that make signing up achievable in 2 or 3 clicks, but require navigating multiple menus, confirmation screens, retention offers, and sometimes a phone call to cancel. This asymmetry is deliberate. The easier the sign-up, the more subscribers acquired. The harder the cancellation, the more subscribers retained. Each additional step in a cancellation flow reduces completion rates by a measurable percentage. Companies know this. They have data on it. They design accordingly. The confirm shaming pattern appears on cancellation screens that offer 2 options: a prominent "Keep my subscription" button and a smaller, less visible "Cancel" option labeled with language designed to make cancellation feel like a personal failure. "No thanks, I don't want to save money," is a real example of confirmed shaming language documented in regulatory investigations. Forced continuity is the practice of continuing a charge after a free trial without prominent notification that the trial is ending and billing will begin. The trial is easy to start. The notification that billing will begin is buried in confirmation emails sent at sign-up. Emails that most people do not remember receiving or no longer have access to when the charge appears. The FTC has pursued enforcement action against companies using dark patterns in subscription contexts and has proposed rules requiring that cancellation be as easy as sign-up, a rule that would seem to require no argument. given that it simply requires symmetry. The fact that such a rule needs to be proposed and that it has faced industry opposition in its implementation tells you everything about the incentive structure of the companies it would regulate. The interface is not confusing by accident. The friction is not a coincidence. It is a feature generating revenue by delaying or preventing a decision the subscriber would make if the path were clear. Here is the concrete process for recovering your subscription spending. Step 1. Do not try to remember your subscriptions. Go to your bank statement or credit card statement directly. Search the last 3 months of transactions for recurring charges, amounts that appear on the same date or at regular intervals. List every one. You will find things you have forgotten. Every person who does this exercise finds things they have forgotten. Step 2. For each subscription on the list, answer one question. In the last 30 days, have I used this enough to choose to pay for it again today, knowing what I know now about my actual usage? Not would I potentially use it. Not do I want to have access to it. Have I actually used it enough that I would consciously choose to renew it today? If the answer is no, cancel it. Not pause it, not downgrade it for now. Cancel it. Step 3. Address annual subscriptions specifically. Annual charges appear once per year and are psychologically treated as larger but less frequent, making them easier to overlook in monthly reviews. Put a calendar reminder 3 weeks before each annual renewal. That reminder gives you the window to cancel before the next year's charge processes. Step 4. Use a virtual card number where your bank offers it for any future subscription signups. Virtual card numbers can be canceled without canceling the underlying card, which means a subscription that becomes difficult to cancel through the company's own interface can simply be stopped at the payment source. The subscription model was engineered to be hard to leave. The audit process is simple and takes less than 30 minutes. The money recovered is real, and unlike most financial moves, it is immediate. The subscription economy was not built around your convenience. It was built around the predictability of your recurring payment. The behavioral science, the interface design, the cancellation friction, every element was engineered to maximize the time between when you stopped getting value and when you stopped paying. That window is their profit margin. Closing it is your recovery. The audit takes 30 minutes. Share this with one person who has not looked at their recurring charges in the last 6 months. And if you want to keep recovering money from systems that were built to extract it quietly, subscribe to Hidden Truth Files. Hidden no more.